Coming up next on PWR Feedback Friday, we have a full review of NXT TakeOver Dallas and our thoughts on Monday's Raw, plus a preview of tomorrow's Primetime TV and more right now on Feedback Friday for Friday, April 8th, 2016.
Ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Feedback Friday for, why do you have my papers? I need this for the date and stuff. You're just lousing everything up. For Friday, May 8th, 2016,
what did I do?
you had my run sheets. You're gonna scribble all over them. Damian Nelson and David Hero here on back at the PWR studios.
These are run sheets?
Feedback Friday. That's exactly what they are, David Hero. Coming off the heels of last weekend's WrestleMania 32. David, have you recovered? Are you good to be home here in the Milwaukee?
You know, I'm ecstatic to be home.
Is that right?
I have not recovered completely.
You've not? Why not?
Well, because
Are you not as resilient as you once were?
No, well, I'm not in my 30s anymore, that's for sure. But at the same time, I had to babysit you.
You had to babysit me.
I did.
Please explain to the world how you had to babysit me.
Do you want me to? I mean,
no, go right ahead. Go right ahead. I do appreciate you saving me from the prostitute at the Waffle House. And I've never taken a woman's eyelashes off.
When you wanted chocolate chip pancakes, I don't think that's what you had in mind.
She offered pecan pancakes.
There was a lot of stuff being offered there. I mean, talk about smothered, covered, and flipped. Good God.
Folks, thank you so much for joining us. As you know, Feedback Friday is brought to you by the PWR Now Network, where you get access to all of our great podcasts, including the PWR Reaction podcast and audio versions of Feedback Friday and PWR Primetime. That's all available right now for free at pwrshow.com.
And next week, we're going to have some new Mean Gene podcasts. The Hotline.
We will. Yes, we will. Indeed. We're going to be traveling and hanging out with Mean Gene Okerlund next week in Vegas. Big news on that later from Linda about Primetime next week. But folks, 1 week ago tonight, WWE kicked off WrestleMania weekend with NXT TakeOver Dallas, featuring a main event.
Whoa. Pump the brakes.
Yes.
WrestleMania weekend kicked off with shenanigans.
Well, since NXT happened before shenanigans, the WWE kicked off WrestleMania weekend with shenanigans.
Okay,
we kicked off WrestleMania weekends with shenanigans.
We 75-yard field goal kicked off.
Well, folks, it did feature a main event of Samoa Joe challenging Finn Balor for the NXT Championship, but there were also several other matches and an impressive debut on the show. And that debut was Bobby Roode. We talked about that last week here on this very program.
He wasn't wrestling. He was shown in the audience. And,
that's all you needed, though, right?
Bobby Roode's been a friend of ours, a friend of the show for a long time.
He's appeared on this show several times.
And an amazing talent. The guy the world will finally truly know who Bobby Roode is. Because let's face it, he's been lost in TNA.
Well, as has everyone else.
3 different networks in 2 different years, and now Bobby Roode comes to NXT, and there is no doubt Bobby Roode will be main eventing on that program shortly.
He had more eyes on him on NXT than he's had on him for the last several years. On Friday night.
I mean, you know what?
Here we go.
We don't want to, throw dirt on TNA or nothing.
They handle that perfectly.
If you think about it, when AJ Styles came to wrestle Jericho at WrestleMania, 101,000, people might say it's 93,000, whatever number you want to pick. I'm pretty confident that 100,000 combined is just as many people as TNA saw him in all their house shows over 12 years, 11 years.
Less.
You know what I mean? So,
Less people saw him in TNA.
What an amazing weekend of fans in Dallas supporting all wrestling.
When Austin Aries made his debut in in NXT on the weekly broadcast on the WWE Network, there was some physicality involved. Bobby Roode, as you said, was just shown. So what do you think might be next for Mr. Roode? We haven't read the NXT spoilers because we don't do that until it's necessary. But what do you think is next for Mr. Roode?
I think he's going to be brought in and top guy and have great matches with Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, Sami Zayn. Guys he's familiar with,
He's fresh meat.
Yeah, he is. And let's face it, because TNA has such a light schedule, I mean, it's the truth. I mean, they haven't had house shows in forever. Right. All they do is tape 1,700 weeks of TV in 5 days. So he doesn't have as many miles on him as most guys do.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, folks, Apollo Crews, who would debut on Raw Monday night at NXT TakeOver Dallas, defeated Elias Sampson in the opening contest. Apollo Crews, very impressive athlete.
He has amazing charisma, extremely athletic.
Lots of airtime.
And you know what? It's going to be interesting to see how he is going to be used. I mean, the entire Monday Night Raw was like an NXT show.
It was indeed, and I think it appeased those fans in attendance, but I wonder what the long-term plans actually are, because then it continued on SmackDown with some NXT debuts as well. But folks, be that as it may, continuing talking about NXT TakeOver Dallas, American Alpha, which was comprised of Jason Jordan and Chad Gable, defeated the Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. The Revival losing the tag team titles in a tremendous tag team matchup. As a matter of fact, this was the opening match.
And it hurt. Because, you know, Dash is a super friend, and I was going to cheer for
that's why he lost.
Guys. And, I mean, but what a great match. I mean, 4 guys, 2 tag team specialists, guys that can, you know, do amazing things in the ring, and it's old school, and they got it, and it clicked, and hoping that, you know, we get to see a few more rematches.
A tremendous tag team wrestling matchup between these two, though. A match that went, I think, 15, 17 minutes and saw new tag team champions crowned. Well, we would also go from there to see Austin Aries defeat Baron Corbin. Now, Corbin, of course, would then go on to WrestleMania and win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Not a fair trade-off.
We talked about this on Be the Booker for WrestleMania and for NXT TakeOver Dallas. You didn't think Corbin would lose that match?
No, I didn't, because, you know, Aries is the new guy coming in, and the new guy coming in, they always want to test him. They want to see, you know, how he handles certain things. And, you know, Aries, you know, he rolled him up, got the quick win. But, I mean, I guess Corbin's like, yeah, I'll put the guy over if I get to win the Battle Royal.
And it was a great matchup between the two. I think Austin Aries showed very well. And I was very intrigued during that matchup listening to the commentary, because the team of Corey Graves and Todd Phillips were very deliberate in pointing out AJ's size difference, yet pointing out as well
Aries
how
size
many
difference.
Yes, Aries size difference. How many people he has defeated in the past, without naming names, that were bigger than him, and how many championships he's held, and what he has done before coming to NXT.
Right.
I thought that was very, very important, and it really did frame the matchup, because Baron Corbin's not a small guy.
No, I mean, Baron Corbin is a beast, and he's a bad Mamma Jamma.
Mamma Jamma.
Mamma Jamma. I mean, he's not the kind of guy you want to bump into in a dark alley.
There were more great matches and another title change at TakeOver in a tremendous matchup, and we'll discuss those after this brief timeout here on Feedback Friday.
At Gruber Law Offices, we understand that when you've been injured, life is tough. That's why we offer so many services for free. First call, free. First consultation, free. Stuck at home or in the hospital? We'll come to you for free. We'll deal with the insurance company for you and get you the help you need. Call Gruber Law Offices now. We don't get paid until you do, and your first consultation is always free.
Welcome back, folks, to Feedback Friday for Friday, April 8th, 2016.
I have feedback. How about those two super friends in the front row?
I didn't notice.
Noble and the coach. They were there representing.
I didn't notice them.
How could you not? They were everywhere.
I didn't notice them. I was watching the wrestling action. I don't watch the fans.
You need to see. That's where you're making a mistake. You need to watch the fans' reaction, because
I watch the fans' reactions as a group, as a whole. I don't watch a couple of fans with.
Huh? With what? Huh?
Amateur design T-shirts.
What? No, amateur. They're professionally made.
Davey Nelson sitting alongside David Harrell. Thank you for joining us here. And before the break, folks, we talked about some of the matches at NXT TakeOver last Friday. And let's continue that conversation now by talking about the new women's champion, Asuka, who defeated Bayley in, quite frankly, one of the greatest wrestling matches I've seen in a long time.
How do you get Asuka out of ASUKA?
We went over this last time. The U is silent. So why is it there?
Why?
I don't know. Why is the other R there in your name?
Because because it's longer.
Compensation. Asaka.
Yes.
Asuka.
See, now you're
and Bayley. David, just a fantastic match. Now, we talked about Bayley versus Sasha Banks at TakeOver, what was it, SummerSlam in Brooklyn?
Yes.
Great match as well. But this was one of the best matches of the weekend, the entire weekend. And we saw a new women's champion crowned.
Shocked. And, Bailey is like she is the golden goose in NXT.
She's a gold what?
She sells a ton of merch. The fans love her. I mean, here's how you know she's over: when there is grown men wearing her T-shirts.
And there were a lot of them. They like to give hugs. Are they a hugger? Is that what it is?
Wow, right?
She's over like a mofo.
And it's one thing if you see the girls wear or the kids, but when I saw grown men, tatted, bearded grown men, wearing I'm a Hugger T-shirts, it's like, who knew?
Excellent matchup, and kudos definitely go out to the new NXT Women's Champion. And David Hero, speaking of Women's Championships, the WWE Divas Championship was rebranded as the Women's Championship through great fanfare, circumstance, and hoopla at WrestleMania this past Sunday. Lita doing that honor of introducing that new championship. And as you looked at the women in that ring when the belt was presented, you saw that it was no longer a divas division, but that it was indeed a women's wrestling division. And this match, along with the two matches at WrestleMania, proved that point.
What's going to be interesting is they've branded the girls as the divas.
They have done that, yes, in the past.
So now what do we call them? The ladies? The girls?
Women's.
The women's?
It's a women's championship. Didn't they have a women's and a divas?
Yes.
Ladies. Was it ladies?
It was the women's championship and the divas title. Yeah.
Nakamura made his debut. David Hero, you've been waiting for this, and he took on Sami Zayn. He got a win over Sami Zayn in that matchup. Again, didn't think that would happen.
I enjoy Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn, ladies and gentlemen, I have a major announcement to make. CNN is ready to make a major projection.
Oh, my goodness.
I'd like to say thank you to Wisconsin, by the way. And, I'd like to think that it's our intelligence that we share each week on television that gave Wisconsin the knowledge to vote for the best of the worst on the Republican side.
Do you know what helped Cruz win?
The best
Wisconsin?
on the Democratic side.
Was all of my write-ins. It took all those votes from Trump.
I didn't see those on the screen.
Well, they don't show write-ins on the screen.
Yeah, they do, if they get enough to do what you say you did.
Oh, there was plenty.
I'm sure. But anyways,
Sami Zayn. You were going to...
Sami Zayn, ladies and gentlemen, major announcement. Breaking news here on PWR. I would like to now hear officially.
Oh, don't take one of my guys.
I would like to officially endorse Sami Zayn as a future superstar and world heavyweight champion in WWE. Ladies and gentlemen, Sami Zayn he's got a charisma about him that you just can't help but follow along with. He has a natural ability and instinct to not only perform in the ring, which he did tremendously against Nakamura, even though he lost, but he's got the presence, the awareness, the physicality.
He's got the theme music. He's got the
everything,
theme music.
And that theme music doesn't hurt, obviously, but he's got everything. I don't think there's anything missing from Sami Zayn.
No, I mean the fans love him, and he's been around, and he's worked, he's paid his dues, and he's got the the whole ginger thing going, which I know Linda appreciates.
From Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Yeah. So he's a star. He's already a star.
He is already a star, and I appreciate that, even though this is a relatively late endorsement, comparatively speaking, to the people I've endorsed in the past. But Sami Zayn is on his way to big, huge things, and we'll talk about that Intercontinental Championship matchup tomorrow night on primetime when we look back at WrestleMania in its entirety. But a great matchup between he and Nakamura at NXT TakeOver Dallas, as it was expected to be, but Zayn losing that matchup. And then getting what can only be described as a bit of a farewell and a send-off from NXT immediately following.
NXT sent a lot of talents to Monday Night Raw.
They did, but they didn't send anybody away from NXT as they did with Sami Zayn. They made it clear that Zayn is gone. And Zayn, who's been a mainstay, of course, of NXT for a long time, but he's also been wrestling on Raw for, what, 6-8 months?
No.
He first wrestled Cena in the U.S. Championship.
He's only been back for like a month or so right now.
But how long ago was it he wrestled Cena on Raw? It was about 6 months ago.
August.
It was about 6-8 months.
No, it was 6 months in December. Or no.
So it's 9 months.
Yeah, you know what?
You want some water to go with your foot?
Why are you arguing?
Why are you throwing things? I'm not arguing.
Water with
I'm
my
just
foot. What do you call me, like a Ninja Turtle or something?
Finally, folks, Finn Balor defended and retained his NXT championship against a bloody Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe came close in a very, very, very physical matchup. It was a bit distracting, though, watching the trainers attempt to tend to Samoa Joe, but I think it led to the physicality that was included in this matchup. And Finn Balor is the face of NXT, and he continues as such. David, this show was heralded as the best wrestling show of the weekend, and I would definitely tend to agree with that.
It was extremely solid. Everyone went out there because they know all eyes are on them. And they have an opportunity now to take this pay-per-view and build it so they can be one of the headliners next year in Orlando.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you this. NXT has been seen as, initially when NXT came around and people were coming from other companies, including, the Finn Balors of the world, to be honest with you, and some fans out there would grumble about the fact that WWE was putting them in NXT. You don't hear that grumbling now because NXT, quite frankly, no matter what anybody else would like to tell you, is the number 2 or 3 behind SmackDown
it's the number
wrestling brand in the world.
NXT is the number 2 wrestling company out there right now.
Behind Raw or behind WWE?
Behind WWE.
I would tend to agree with that, and it is clear. So it is no longer a punishment to go to NXT. It is a privilege to go to NXT.
It is. Anyone that leaves TNA wants to go to NXT first. Get acclimated to how they do business, and then eventually be brought up.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time before Bobby Roode and Eric Young wind up on Raw or SmackDown.
Really?
Yeah.
But here's the thing about NXT. NXT needs their mainstay talents as well because they're now touring. They've got the Finn Balors. They've got the Samoa Joes. They just lost Sami Zayn. They've got these great tag teams. They've got Nakamura.
But they got Austin Aries. He's there now.
Yeah, true.
You know, and they're signing more and more talents.
Well, the next takeover event from NXT, I believe, is occurring in June, I believe we found out, from Orlando, Florida, site of WrestleMania 33. NXT TakeOver Dallas, a home run for WWE. Wasn't able to attend live because, as you mentioned earlier, David Hero, we had a bit of an event going on in downtown Dallas.
It was not an event, it was a spectacle.
It was a spectacle for sure. Some 500-plus people in attendance for the Kevin Nash Shenanigans Party, the 5th annual as part of WrestleMania weekend, and I think that one thing can be said for sure, that this event was solidified this year as the must-attend party event of WrestleMania weekend. You know, some people like to sit at the hotel bar and hope to see a wrestler. Some people like to sit at the hotel bar and
Or at the airport.
Or at the airport and hope to see and hang out with somebody and really just not have a good time. Well, the Shenanigans VIP party, folks, is the spot where I'm shocked at some of the, like you said, we never really know who's actually going to be coming.
We don't know who's going to show up.
We have a core group of people we do know who are going to show up. But when I was standing at the entrance and looked up and out of the elevator came Sabu.
Carlito.
Hey, how are you?
Primo.
Yeah,
it was.
Drew Galloway.
Yeah. I never even saw Drew there.
Yeah, he was there for quite a while.
There was Harry Smith, Lance Hoyt. I mean, there were stars from Ring of Honor, TNA.
Eddie Edwards, Roderick Strong.
It was absolutely insane.
It was, but more important than those stars were there were the hundreds of you who had a great night. And if you were there, you heard what Kevin Nash had to say about Orlando next year. And in the coming weeks here on the Pro Wrestling Report, we will have more details on what will be an iconic event coming to Orlando as part of WrestleMania 33 weekend. So with that, folks, let's throw it over to Linda Kay to tell you a little bit about what you're going to find out from us tomorrow night on Prime Time on My 24 Milwaukee and Fight TV.
Be sure to download the free Fight TV app on your smartphone so you can stream content from PWR, ROH, and many more right to your Wi-Fi TV with no wires and no boxes. Fight TV is available for free in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Be a part of Feedback Friday by heading over to PWRshow.com and sending us your feedback or commenting on the stories on the site. Follow at PWR Show on Twitter and on Facebook at facebook.com/PWR Show. We'll see you tomorrow night at 10 p.m. on Primetime TV as we look back on WrestleMania and talk about all the things you may have not seen or noticed on the show. That's Primetime tomorrow night at 10 p.m. on My 24 Milwaukee, YouTube, Fight TV, and PWRshow.com. We look forward to seeing you then.